In India, a 40-year-old man was brutally trampled to death by an elephant he had nurtured and thought he knew well. On a different continent, a mother bear was seen leaving her cubs with a human. These behaviors run counter to what we expect, but they reveal the vast possibilities animals have to respond to different situations. If you thought only humans have a monopoly on questionable actions and peculiarities, I implore you to rethink. Today, we discuss bizarre, surprising, and unexpected behaviors from animals. These behaviors remind us that the animal world is not a simple version of ours. It is a parallel one where living, adapting, grieving, and even laughter exist. If you would like to see more of this, you are in the right place. Hit the subscribe button so you do not miss the next video. We start with one of the most ironic, unexpected behaviors: a mother bear leaving her cubs with a human while she goes hunting. In the video, cubs rest peacefully with a human male while the mother runs out into the wild. Now, if you know anything about bears, you know that this should not happen. Mother bears are deeply protective of their cubs. The relationship between a mother bear and her cub is one that is constantly replenished with love and fierce vigilance. Bears have the lowest reproduction rate among mammals, so even a single death is impactful. A mother bear understands the threats facing her offspring and stays far from such dangers. Why then would she willingly leave her cubs in the hands of a human? Is this mother bear losing the protective instincts she has long been associated with? To answer these questions, we draw on research carried out by Leclerc, a doctoral student in biology, on the behaviors of bears in their interactions with humans. One of his major findings is that female bears may use humans as a shield against infanticide, which cubs can become victims of during mating season. During mating season, some male bears kill the cubs of a mother bear because they become confident that within a few days, she will be ready to reproduce again. Leclerc's GPS tracking data, combined with aerial surveys and ground checks, revealed that mother bears whose cubs survived mating season were the ones who spent more time near humans. Those that often avoided human infrastructure were the ones that lost cubs. With the rapid rise of urbanization, which has damaged their natural habitats, many animals are finding ways to make the best of losing prime habitat to human development. For our next unexpected behavior, we go to a Hindu temple in India where an elephant killed a man in a brutal rampage that lasted nearly 4 hours. There is nothing novel about an animal hurting a human. What makes this unexpected is that it defies the known nature of elephants. Elephants are known to be peaceful. In fact, elephants are so empathetic that they grieve their loved ones. They return to the bones of lost family members, touch them with their trunks in specific, deliberate patterns, and have been observed standing in apparent silence over a carcass for hours. Whether this constitutes mourning in any sense we would recognize, we do not know. But the behavior is real, it is documented, and it is hard to watch without feeling something. So when wild footage shows an elephant throwing and overturning parked cars after it had trampled a man to death, it raises a lot of questions. On the morning of the incident, the elephant named Shetty was being led through the grounds of a Hindu temple for its routine watering. These are ancient traditions. Temple elephants are considered sacred in parts of South India, and the men who care for them, Mahots, often spend their entire lives bonded with a single animal. Shetty turned aggressive, broke free from his restraints, and within seconds, Vishnu, the man who had driven him to the temple, was lifted by the trunk, thrown, and trampled. The elephant's rampage continued for nearly 4 hours. The elephant's primary caretaker, Pradeep, was also rammed and severely injured. Cars were overturned and the streets were cleared. It took a specialized elephant squad from the forest department to finally tranquilize the animal. How does an animal known for its gentleness, intelligence, emotional depth, and empathy become this? Here is the uncomfortable truth that researchers and animal welfare advocates have been raising for years. Captive elephants, whether in temples, zoos, or sanctuaries, live in conditions that their minds and bodies were never built for. Wild elephants can travel over 20 kilometers a day. They live in complex social structures with deep bonds between females and their young, with mourning rituals for the dead, with forms of communication we are still only beginning to understand. In captivity, that world collapses. The space is gone, the herd is gone, the movement is gone. What remains, often, is a highly intelligent animal in a state of chronic psychological stress, and then periodically a hormonal surge that evolution designed to drive it toward combat. Male elephants are prone to a period of heightened reproductive and aggressive behavior, typically lasting from a few weeks to several months. This is referred to as must. It is psychological and deeply affects their stress response. What happens is a dramatic surge in testosterone, with levels increasing by as much as 60 times. This hormonal spike drives a range of physical and behavioral changes. This begs the question of whether the attack on Vishnu was a monstrous act, or the act of an animal pushed well past its limits in a situation it was never meant to be in. Despite efforts to improve captive conditions, studies highlight persistent challenges such as space constraints, lack of social structures, inadequate diets, and stereotypic behaviors caused by boredom and stress. Captive environments fail to replicate the spatial, social, and cognitive richness of the wild, and this creates more problems than humans are prepared to handle. Another unexpected animal behavior can be seen in crows. Studies and observations have shown that crows can hold grudges and teach their young whom to hate. They remember your face and can hold grudges for up to 17 years. Why is this bizarre? Birds have a reputation for being meek and calm. However, there are other layers to their behavior that we are only beginning to see. Birds are more intelligent than most people realize, especially when it comes to recalling those who pose a threat. Professor John Marsluff, an environmental scientist, initiated a study by donning a fearsome mask and temporarily trapping 7 crows. He identified them with leg rings before safely releasing them. Then, over the following years, researchers wearing the same masks walked the campus while feeding crows. The result was striking. The crows that had been trapped did not just remember the masks. They taught other crows to associate those masks with danger. Birds that had never been trapped and that had never interacted with the masked researchers began dive-bombing and scolding anyone wearing them. The hostility spread through the local crow population and persisted for the entire duration of the study. A crow experienced something threatening, and it communicated that threat to its offspring and neighbors. Years later, that social memory was still active, shaping the behavior of birds who had not even been born when the original event occurred. This is the transmission of learned information across generations, which many of us tend to think of as distinctly human. And if you think you have seen it all, prepare to be mind-blown as we talk about mountain goats. Mountain goats are herbivores. Their diet of grass, leaves, and bark is rich in calories, but desperately low in sodium, calcium, and other essential minerals for bone growth, nerve function, and muscle movement. Without those minerals, their bodies can simply stop working. So when the body needs salt, the goats go to get it. In the ALPS, the salt is in the rocks, often in dam walls. What makes this possible is anatomy. Mountain goats have split hooves with 2 independently movable toes that can spread wide for grip. The underside of each hoof has a hard outer edge for catching on ledges and a soft, rubbery inner pad for friction against smooth rock. Evolution essentially gave them climbing shoes with crampons built in. Mothers lead their kids up these faces. The kids follow, step for step, trusting completely. At the top, or on whatever narrow ledge contains the minerals they need, they lick the stone while the valley falls away beneath them. Mountain goats are, without a doubt, the best climbers in the world. They are not afraid of steep slopes or colossal heights. In a few jumps, these animals can overcome tens of meters of vertical rock while feeling absolutely safe. It is safe here because most predators do not reach this high. What makes these behaviors feel unexpected is not that the animals are strange. It's that our mental models of them are incomplete. We built a story about what animals are, simpler, more mechanical, more predictable than us. And the animals have been quietly disproving that story for as long as we have been watching. They grieve, teach, adapt, remember, play, and throw tantrums. For instance, rats laugh when tickled. Neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp discovered this in the late 1990s. When rats play, chasing, wrestling, and being tickled by researchers, they emit rapid ultrasonic chirps at around 50 kilohertz. That is far above the range of human hearing. When scientists played these chirps back to rats, the animals moved toward the sound. The chirps appear to be expressions of positive affect. We just could not hear it until we built the tools to listen. Vervet monkeys also have a taste for alcohol. On the Caribbean island of St. Kitts, vervet monkeys have been stealing fermented sugarcane drinks from tourists for generations. Researchers studying them found that their drinking patterns closely mirror human ones. Most drank moderately, a small percentage abstained entirely, and about 5% drank to excess, becoming aggressive or stumbling. The parallels were uncomfortable enough that the findings contributed to research on genetic predispositions to alcohol dependency. Sun bears in Chinese zoos have been filmed standing upright on their hind legs, waving at visitors in a way that is frankly too human for comfort. The footage prompted widespread accusations that the zoo was using costumed humans, and the zoo denied those accusations correctly. Sun bears are simply built that way. Their anatomy allows for remarkably upright posture. Indeed, biology can be complex, layered, and not fully understood, especially the ways it overlaps with social factors. There's a lot more that meets the eye, and that is a wrap on today's video. If this made you look at animals a little differently, drop a comment below. I want to know which behavior surprised you the most. If you are new here, subscribe so you do not miss the next one. And if you enjoyed this, YouTube thinks you will like the suggested video coming up next, so do check it out. See you there.